Hey guys, it's Milka. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, if you see me not looking at the camera, it is because I'm looking at myself. I'm filming this on my phone, and if I have it in, what is that term? Horizontally, the camera is either going to be on this side or on that side, and it will never be like something that I could just stare at. I think it'd also be a little weird if I keep staring at this point. I don't know, I'll see, I guess, when I kind of edit the video. I say kind of because I don't do the, super fancy editing that some other channels do. But I decided to do a face-to-face video just to, well, first of all, say hi. And this channel, initially when I conceptualized it, it was meant to be about stationery, but also just anything that I wanted to share or talk about. So this is going to be one of those videos. So if you guys are here for stationery content, I'll try to do that in the first portion of it. But it's not really going to be stationery related. So if you guys still want to stick around, that's great. If you only want to watch the stationery content event, there is a video in the lineup. It's just about when I get the time to edit it and finish filming parts of it, but I'm excited for that because it's been a couple of months since I've conceptualized that idea, but I won't go too far into that. But yeah, today I just wanted to do a little sit down and chat, but also a mini haul. So I'm gonna start with the mini haul. So my birthday is November 8th, but I celebrate for the month of my birthday. And this year I have started celebrating myself like towards the end of September. Yes, I get a full 2 months and some because I'm worth it, okay? So this year, what I mean by I started celebrating is I started giving myself gifts. So this is part of the stationery stuff, right? So some of the gifts, most of the gifts I have already talked about on this channel. In September, I got 4 pens. I don't recall a time when I've purchased 4 pens in such a short time frame, but I did. I got 4 pens. I reviewed all of them on this channel, but I will briefly show them in this video just because I'm just pulling them out. I didn't prepare ahead of time, but that's okay because everything is technically at my table anyway. Hold up. Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3. And have you guys ever seen the Tootsie Roll commercials? How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop, or Tootsie Pop, not Tootsie Roll? The world may never know. Okay, so I guess I'll go in order of purchase. So this is one of them. This was the Satellite Party by Lucky Star Pens. So this was one of the pens that I got. And then I also got the Manum Opus 88 Mini Celestial Zodiac. So lovely. Okay. And I got the Narwhal Nautilus Horsehead Nebula. So this is that one. Look how beautiful. And the portholes, I just feel like I'm in space or like in a spaceship looking out into space whenever I look at this pen. And these two are actually exclusives to Goldspot. This is a small business kind of thing, so also exclusive. This isn't like something you can just find on any website, just on the Lucky Star Pens website. And then the last but not least fountain pen is the Benu Beam Me Up. Oh, so beautiful. Look at all those aliens and the cow being abducted. It's so cute. I love it. I love space. I love spacey things. So, and you can't tell in this lighting, but there's blue glitter throughout the cap and also in the, I'm forgetting what this is called. The finger rest. I'm forgetting what that section, the grip section. There's blue glitter, so kind of like the night sky. So these are my pens, okay? I also bought a bottle of Kyono Oto Atsuki Iro because it's a really lovely red ink, and I actually have used it quite a bit. I didn't fill the pen all the way. I had it in my Mont Blanc, but I didn't fill it all the way, but it ended up running. I wrote it dry, and I wanted to clean out that pen and just move on to the next ink because I'm trying to work through ink. But I inked it up again because I was like, you know what, I really like this ink, and that was my second sample. And the fact that I inked it up again, I was like, okay, I'm buying a bottle. And it's a beautiful autumnal color. And then I also got the Ferris Wheel Press Spadina Rose. It's a lovely dusty pink as well. It doesn't look like this. Maybe in writing a little bit like this. It does kind of make me think in writing, like when I write with it, of lipstick. It makes me think of my grandmother's lipstick from when I was younger, the shade that she used to wear. Maybe that's why I really like this ink. I don't know. But yes, so I got this. Okay, that concludes the stationery portion. But since, as I mentioned, I've been celebrating for all this time, I did get myself another gift. I went to this place, a board game cafe, because I've been wanting to go to a board game cafe for quite some time. And I just so happened to be like, because of where I was working today, an 8-minute drive away, or 6 even, it was really quick, from this place. It was a board game cafe in like Upper Brooklyn. So it's called The Last Place on Earth. And you guys, The Last Place on Earth is a little spacey themed too. So that was so extra special for me. And basically you can play board games there, and I wanted to go because I wanted to ask if strangers, if there are like nights where they have strangers come together to play board games, because I want to play board games with strangers and meet new people, you know, so, and I want to try new board games too. And I feel like I don't have enough people in my life that are interested in that. Like, if I do, they're in separate parts of the family or however else the mix may be, that it's only 2 players at a time, you know, because the others wouldn't be able to fully understand the game or be as interested in reading a lot of instructions. So anyway, that aside, I'm looking for a place to play board games and to have some fun because I deserve it, right? We all do. We all deserve fun. We live in a world where everything is serious and we're told to take things seriously, especially as you grow up and if you've experienced any kind of trauma in this lifetime. There's a good chance that that sobered you up a little bit. So any chance to play or have fun, I'm very much for that. To be silly, let that inner child out. We deserve to have fun. Otherwise, what is the point, right? I'm not saying go indulge and spend tons and tons of money to do so, but wherever you can find joy. So for me, that joy, I would like to play games with strangers for fun. But anyway, went into this little explanation. But yes, so I got a game, you guys. I was not expecting to. I have no one to really play it other than, again, like I said, a 2-people version of it. I also don't know if I would even like the game, but I have this idea, which I'm not really going to share because it's still in conceptualization mode and all of this stuff. And this board game made me think of this idea. So when I saw it, instantly I was like, I want this. And then part of me was almost like, okay, this could be like research. This board game could be research. So yeah, I decided to get it. And then as I was going to pay for it, I was like, Milka, is this a smart decision? Does this make sense? Like, you haven't even looked into the game. And when the woman rung me up, after the tax was added, the cost of the game was a number that is very significant to me and that means a lot to me. And that I saw this number when I was having doubts or fears about getting my tattoos. I have 2 little tattoos. And I was like and my friend, funnily enough, I got them for my birthday. Uh, 10 years ago, almost a full 10 years ago now, my friend bought them for me, and she paid for me to get these tattoos. And but anyway, that's not important. Basically, I saw that number and I was like, okay, this is the right choice. Whenever I see that number, it's very significant for me. I'm somebody who follows signs a lot, and I believe that the universe speaks to us through all of these different methods, and we just have to be open and receptive to hearing and seeing them, right? But anyway, okay, so it was a sign. Like I said, I was thinking research, but then I started going into this lack mentality, and I was like, is this the right choice? And then I was like, yes, I deserve this, okay? There's nothing wrong with saying that. I deserve a gift. I deserve a present. I deserve to be treated, right? I start with me, and I set the example of whatever else I'm setting an example for. But that's actually something I want to talk about after I talk about this game too, which is one of the reasons why I'm making this video, is because I just wanted to share, I guess, for anybody that it could be helpful for. But yes, onto the game. Okay, so you guys. Okay, look at this game. It's called Mlem Space Agency. It's so cute. I mean, you're getting glare right now from the camera, but it is so cute. From the light, I guess I should say, not the camera. Space cats, cats in space, okay? And I mean, look at this. This is so cute. Mlem Space Agency. I'll read you the description. Space Agency is a family board game where you become commanders of space expeditions, but not any ordinary, I can speak English, but not any ordinary commanders, because your astronauts are cats. Fearless and stubborn, they long took over the rule of Earth, and now they want to conquer the entire universe. However, their clumsiness may lead to more than one disaster. Fly a space rocket and reach the stars to trust your feline instincts and leave the rocket before it crashes. Fame and recognition of the entire purring world await the best commander of the feline space agency. Okay. And this is kind of like a little snippet of what the game looks like a little bit. Look at that. It's like a planet, but it's also a yarn ball. How cute. So I'm excited to like look through this. I think I'm going to watch a video of like a playthrough of this game. Oh my gosh, I just realized this planet is cheese. I guess it's probably a moon or something, or just a cheese planet. And there are mice eating the planet. Oh my. Even in their own planet, they're considered parasites or like vermin. Look at this cat cruising the town. Okay. Anyway, so I'm really excited about this. I thought this was super cute and I wanted to share. Has anybody heard of this game? I'm just curious if anyone has heard of it, or if anyone has ever played it or tried it or got it for their family. But yeah, I have a little collection of games that I don't really get to play, but you know, I'm saving them for when I'm in the right space to have a certain amount of people who are interested in that kind of stuff to enter my life. I'm bringing in the energy of those people. I've played them, you know, but it's just not as often as I would like. Okay, gonna put this away and now get down to the real talk. Don't mind the mess, but now get down to the real talk, okay? All right. This is something that I've been wanting to share on my channel for some time, because like I said, this channel was made to just be everything in one kind of a thing. I do have another 2 YouTube channels. One of them is a tarot channel, which is one of my it's like part of my business. It's called Natayam, for anyone who's interested or was ever curious. Link is in the description. I took a long break from that for some time, but I'm coming back. And then I have another one, Milka38, which has some of my older tarot videos, but it also has affirmation songs. So the goal with that channel is to just, whenever the music comes out and feels right to put up there, it goes there. This channel is meant to just be everything else. So stationery, everything that I love, vlogging, whatever else comes through. And that's why I'm sharing this video today, because something that I feel I have not recently discovered, but have been made aware within myself, which I know a lot of people are experiencing and feeling, is pressure. Okay. Part of the reason that I disappeared, for those of you guys who are just, only know me from this channel, you're obviously, you're like, I've never no idea you disappeared or whatever. But like I said, I have another channel and I did kind of disappear. And it's not just with that channel. It was with a lot of things where stuff started getting successful or a buzz or picking up, and I would disappear. Kind of like I was saying to myself, I'm going to show up for my life. And then once life started showing up back to me, I would be like, I need a break now, I'm a very spiritual person. I want to start off by saying, and I know there are a lot of spiritual people that talk about ego and they talk about abolishing the ego. I don't know. I don't feel like that's necessary for everyone. I feel like instead of abolishing the ego, we can try to learn to love it and respect it, and to show it that everything is okay, right? Because ego is our self-defense mechanism. Ego is the way that when you were experiencing some kind of discomfort or trauma or chaos in your life, or something that called upon you to feel fear, or like you needed safety and security, your ego stepped in and created that. And so your ego acts up whenever it feels threatened, right? And you may not always feel threatened by things that make sense to you. You're like, why is this threat? You're like, just because this person gets me upset doesn't mean that I feel threatened, But I'm sure there are ways to make a connection. I'm not trying to make that description fit for everybody, because everyone is an individual, everyone has different experiences. But a lot of the times I find that it is because on some level our self-defense mechanism kicks in, our ego kicks in, our security system. If you're used to being hurt or betrayed from something in childhood, you're less likely to be trusting of people. So when somebody promises you something, this is an example, not applying it to everyone who's watching, just an example of what I was saying, right? So somebody who is in that situation, so now that they're an adult, they could be less trusting of someone. And when they feel like someone is BSing them when they're talking, they're going to get triggered by that. Like, oh, that's a lie. That's so annoying. But why are you being triggered by a lie, right? What somebody else does shouldn't affect you so much. If it's affecting you, then that means a trigger in general. What is it triggering within you, right? So a lot of the time in that scenario, you could say it's triggering like that dynamic that I mentioned, right? Somebody who maybe was lied to a lot as a child, and so their sense of security was a little shattered. And so, or like their parents made promises that they never went through with, right? So now they apply that barrier, that self-defense towards everyone, because they experienced it in childhood and they're like, that's not happening to me again. So I'm just going to doubt what everybody says, right? Or whenever I know someone for sure is telling a lie, or I truly feel it, like I'm going to judge that. So my little explanation aside, pressure and showing up. I feel like something that would come up in me from childhood, ever since I was little, I was very slow whenever I would do things. That's just how I was. That's how I operated. Even my energy, when people spend time with me, they consider my energy very peaceful. And I think the slowness is probably part of it. I was born and raised in New York. like the New York City-esque area. But I remember one of those like Hare Krishna people stopped me on the street in Union Square, and they were trying to get me to donate money and buy a book or something. And we started talking, and he was like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "I'm from here." And he was like, "What? Like, you don't give off the vibe of somebody from New York at all." And I've heard that a lot, you know, over the years, I should say. So I think it's a gift, but for people who are used to doing everything quickly, it can be a trigger or something annoying, right? Because if they're used to being rushed, if they're used to being in a state of, I have to do this quickly, I have to do this quickly, it's usually because someone put pressure on them to do so, right? There's like some level of pressure to perform. And then if this is the only way you know how to be, of course, if you have children, or a family, you can project that onto them if you don't have like the self-awareness to work on yourself and whatever else. So growing up with like grandparents and whatever else, I felt this pressure because I was so slow. Whenever I would eat, I was slow. Whenever I would do anything, go to the bathroom, get ready, I wasn't making people late by getting ready or whatever. It's just my process would be long. I needed more time. If I want to get ready, I would want like 2 hours for something that would normally take maybe 30 minutes. And that's just because I want to take my time. I don't like to feel like I need to rush. However, growing up in this kind of a world where I think we're encouraged to perform and rush and over deliver and all of this stuff, there's just this sense of pressure, right? You got to go to the next thing and the next thing. Everything is destination driven, and once you get to a certain destination, you need to get to the next destination. That's how life is. Once you finish a deadline, you have the next deadline. Work is like this. Life is like this. You know, society is like this now, even with media being so short form, what like the shorts I mean in general, or like media being so poppy, like I'm stimulating your mind here, I'm stimulating your mind there. You know, something popped up, lots of music, another thing popped up, visual in between every single sentence, right? And then on top of that, even with the shorts, when you have somebody who is showing you something and they're talking to you, but they're also playing music in the background with lyrics in it, and your brain is now taught to, there's like this overstimulation, which again causes pressure. So I'm getting to a point here, and I just want to let you guys know I tree branch. That's what I call it. I call it branching, like tree branching. Essentially, it's branching off from the topic and kind of like talking about other things that are related and then coming back to the topic. So yes, I do that. You may see that in this video. It already happened, I'm pretty sure. But I noticed within myself that when I was trying to show up, as I mentioned before, showing up for life, I would experience this pushback. I think in my mind, I was saying, yeah, I'm pursuing my dreams or my passion. I'm putting stuff out there, but I'm putting it out there to an empty room. And I'm like, yeah, I did it, right? Like, what are you talking about? I did it. I put it out there to an empty room, but I did it. I put it out there. And then once people started showing up, I was like, oh my gosh, look, a person appeared. 3 people appeared. Wow. And then more people appeared. And now I was somebody growing up also that felt like I needed to take responsibility onto my shoulders. Like I needed to take responsibility of people's feelings and emotions. Like I took so much onto myself. Like I needed to carry everything for some reason, right? And that added to the pressure. So and it was nothing that anybody outside of myself did. At this point, it was already built or engraved into me in an operating system that was working on autopilot within myself, that was taking things on and putting this level of importance that no one else is applying to it except for me, which then puts more pressure onto myself. And so instead of dealing with it, because I believe in being kind to yourself and all of this other stuff, what I did instead to be kind to myself is just shut down, right? I would be like, no, I'm giving too much again, shutting down. I would just disappear. right? And don't get me wrong, sometimes you need to disappear. I needed to disappear so I can work through what I'm experiencing, right? We all need to be able to have quiet time, me time, isolation time, where you cocoon and shed another layer of whatever else that was programmed into you. We're born pure, and then we are given all of this programming from society, our culture, our family, our gender, everything gives you some kind of programming or belief, which turns into a limiting belief at some point in our lives, right? If we live by them like they're a law or a rule, and then we spend the rest of our lives removing all of those beliefs and finding out who we truly are, the person that we were born, or the soul that we were born in that pure state, before we were conditioned with everybody else's issues, whether they were historical, societal, national, cultural, ancestral, right? Okay. So yeah, I had this realization that I was putting pressure on myself again. Whenever I would get comments, I would feel this pressure to respond to people. I had to show up for them. I have to, right? I don't have to. I don't have to do anything. I choose to. But sometimes when you get worked up in life, choosing turns into having to do. And that now takes away a little bit of your own power because you feel like you're stuck in a cycle. But also, it takes away the joy in whatever it is that you were doing, right? It's kind of like when you have a passion, they say when you have a passion and you turn it into your job. Sometimes there's a little bit less of a spark, and that's because you went from just doing the things that you love and wanting to do it just because you want to do it, to now you have to have some kind of a deadline. You have to have some kind of structure. You have to have some kind of schedule and output and whatever else. There's now this pressure. It's not just however I want to create. I mean, I'm sure there's ways to do that, but generally I feel like that's kind of how it goes. Once you start turning your passion into a career and money is involved and meeting people's expectations as opposed to just doing what brings you joy because you were doing it just for the joy of it before, it starts to play, right? And it plays a role in that. And now it's time to then look at ourselves and be like, okay, am I letting this thing that I love turn into something that puts pressure on me? And that feels not fun anymore? Or am I going to choose to do differently? And that was the aha moment I had, I guess, right? Because even with pressure, whether it's with work, with keeping connections, relationships, right? Something with the comments, I was worried about the comments. I was like, I need to reply to these comments. I need to reply to each one of them, not just hearted. It needs to be a reply and a heart. And then I would see long comments. And I was like, when I see a long comment, I feel the need to read the whole thing. So I need to give myself a chance whenever I get time to read the whole thing so I can reply to each section. And so much pressure, right? So much buildup over something so little. I could just say thank you and truly be grateful and just write 2 sentences and reply. It doesn't have to be a reply to every single individual aspect of the comment. I can just like the comment and acknowledge that, thank you for being here, for commenting, right? But I let it turn into something else because I was like, no, there needs to be meaning. There needs to be. It's like I was applying this I don't know, greater meaning to it than what was really there, because I was thinking I have to do everything the right way, whatever the right way is, right? It's kind of like, this is something I was thinking of this morning. Say you're reading an instruction manual on how to move into the next phase of your life. And you're 75%, and you follow the steps of the instruction manual as you go along, and you're 75% through the book, and then the universe is like, oh my gosh, you're doing great. You have removed so many obstacles. You're ready to go to the next book, the next book of your life, this next phase, right? This next chapter. And you're like, wait, I'm ready? And they're like, yeah. But you're like, well, I only read 75% of this book. I'm not even done with this book. And they're like, it's okay. Come on, let's go to the next one. And you're like, but I can't do that. I have to finish this book. It doesn't make sense to do, you know what I mean? It's like the logical mind starts to think, or you think, I put like so much energy into reading this. What is that? Oh, that's just dust. I put so much energy into reading this book, you know, I put like 75% energy, or what, or like I put like 100% of my energy in this 75% of the book. Now you're telling me to not even finish it and just move on to the next thing? I want to see it to completion. I want to finish this project. And the universe is like, well, you can do that if you want, but does it make sense for you to do 25% extra more work for you? I mean, whatever you want to do, it's your life. We're just letting you know that you're ready for the next phase. But if you want to stick around and do this other 25%, make it more difficult for yourself, go for it, I guess. You know what I mean? But it's like this, you can call it a human stubbornness of like, I need to see it through. I need to do it a certain way. And it turns into a limitation, right? So we could have been taught that you need to complete something. We could have been taught, like, once you start putting, or also you're like, it would be a waste. But would it really be a waste? If you didn't complete that book, would it be a waste of your time? Because you did the 75% that opened you up to the next phase, right? So things to ponder on. Are you going to be stuck in that 25% that you need to complete, or just like jumping in to the next book because it's time? That was the thing you were working towards from the beginning. That was the reason you picked up this book, the one that is 75% read and completed, right? You picked it up so that you can get to this next chapter, to this next book. It's almost like you bought a book that teaches you how to read Shakespeare, okay? And you're 75% through the book, and like the universe is like, whoa. Or your English teacher is like, whoa, you're doing great. You're ready for Shakespeare. And you're like, what? But I'm not done with this other book. Ooh, sorry for the bike. Actually, I'm not sorry. Because I'm not going to apologize for something out of my control. And that's another thing that I'm going to be working on, because I over apologize. I mean, I've gotten better. In the last few years, for sure. But that was another thing. When you apologize for something that's out of your control, that's part of the whole taking things on as if they're your own, or taking responsibility for things that are not yours to be responsible for. Another thing, emotions of other people, right? Responsibility to other people in your life that you care about, that you love, but it's not your job to be their crutch, to be the person that holds their hand, unless you're, of course, a parent of a young child. That's different. But somebody that you've already talked to and helped before, if they keep having the same issues and they're not doing the work for themselves, does it make sense to keep taking their hand and guiding them? It's slowing you down. It's almost the same way of thinking, I have to finish that 25%. I have to do it the right way. Everyone needs to come along. It doesn't really work like that, right? We can only do for us. So I just realized this is another one of the tree branching thing. I branched off again. But essentially, what I wanted to say with the whole pressure thing is, I just sort of realized that all of this pressure was self-inflicted, that I don't have to do any of the things that I was telling myself I needed to do or wanted to do, because it would make the experience so much more special and whatever. But is it really special if I don't do anything because I felt so much pressure? So yeah, and then I realized also one of the ways to overcome whenever you feel so much pressure is boundaries, right? So I was asking my guides and I was tuning into myself and to source, and I was asking, what can I do to relieve this pressure? What can I do to create again? Because I wanted to. I wanted to create again. I wanted to make more content and all of this other stuff, and to put myself out there again. I wanted to do that. It's just I was holding myself back too with this pressure that I put on myself. So I was asking, source, my guides, looking within, what can I do so that I don't feel so afraid? Because the pressure was making me feel fear. It was like a performance anxiety, I was afraid of other people's expectations that no one ever voiced that they had for me, but that I put onto myself, right? It's like I had this expectation of myself, and then I because people are a mirror, right, for our inner world. So I projected my expectation onto the audience, assuming that not all of them, but there are a few of them that are expecting something from me. They're expecting the next video. They're expecting whatever else they're expecting. And I'm failing them in some way. I'm disappointing them. And it's just easier to keep focusing on me, because this has now gained a lot of stress. This YouTube channel, or the energy around this now has gained stress, right? So what can I do to relieve that mindset, that stress? The boundaries, okay? What does boundaries look like in terms of a YouTube channel? Because boundaries are different depending on every situation that you're applying them to. With the YouTube channel, the thing that was stressing me out was comments. One of the things that was stressing me out was comments. Well, set a schedule. Instead of just always checking the comments, say, okay, on this day at this time, I'm going to check the comments, and if within this time frame I don't get to reply to all of them, the rest of them I'll either heart or save for the next week. That's it. It's that simple. Something that I was putting so much pressure on with such a simple solution, but I needed to go away. I needed to take however many months I needed to come to that solution, to bring myself clarity, to work on myself, to shed another layer so that I can have this realization. But it was so simple, right? It was just create a schedule for when you're going to view the comments. Follow it strictly because if I start, dipping into looking at the comments all the time, I can start feeling the pressure like, oh, I need to respond to this soon. But no, if I carve out that time and I'm like, okay, Tuesdays between 5 and 6 p.m. is when I reply to comments. And if, in that time frame, I don't get to finish replying, I can just heart the rest of the comments. It's that simple. Another boundary. I started feeling pressure with the kind of content I was creating. I started restricting myself, again, because of pressure and expectation that I had placed onto myself, and that I was projecting expectation onto the audience, right? They want to see a certain kind of content, a certain kind of video. I have to create that content for them. No, I don't. I mean, this sounds a little entitled, but the truth is, the whole channel started with me doing what I wanted to do because I enjoy it. So the vibration of the people that I draw in are drawn in because I'm doing something that I enjoy. But if I start doing only what the algorithm likes or wants, and not because and sometimes I want to make those videos, but if I'm doing it out of a feeling like I have to as opposed to want to, the audience that I'm going to be bringing in are not going to be people who resonate with my joy and expression. It's going to be people who just want to consume what's on the algorithm, right? And that's only going to build more pressure, because now I've pushed my main audience. They're not going to resonate as much with the content, which I actually saw, and then I was like, okay, I need to take a break, because I can't just be putting out stuff just because I feel like this is what people want to see. I need to actually connect with it and feel that joy, but I need to be in an energy where I can give, right? Because creating content, you're also giving. You're giving energetically a part of yourself. to basically anyone who clicks on the video, right? You're giving to the video. It's not like a constant channel where someone can just have access to that energy, but there is an aspect of giving. So you need to be in a place where you feel like you can give, right? Yeah, so that was another thing that I was like, okay, that's another boundary that I can set. And the reason that I'm sharing this again is because I feel like it could help somebody, you know. For example, I'm applying it to, I'm just sharing my experience. So I had it with a YouTube channel. It's applied to other areas of my life too, but you know, that was just one that was easy to kind of see. But you can also apply this to relationships, people in your life that you feel, pardone, that you feel like maybe you're overgiving to or doing too much for, right? And you feel like now they have expectations, like maybe at work you overperformed and now there are these expectations of you to always be on this A game, to always be on top of everything, doing everything a certain way. You know, maybe the first year that you worked, you never took a sick day. And so now you get stressed out when you were sick because you need a sick day, but everyone is just expecting you to keep working through it because you showed them, like, even when I'm sick, I didn't take a sick day because I'm committed to this job, right? But that's not sustainable long term. So now you need that sick day and now you feel pressure to take that sick day, right? So what kind of a boundary would you set in that scenario? You would say, my job is my job. I'm going to do what's right for me. If I need a sick day, I need a sick day, and they need to respect that. It's a human right, okay? I know this is a very first world country thing to be able to say, but I truly believe that it is a human right, okay? We should be able to have this right to go to the bathroom if you need to use the bathroom, take a sick day if you're sick, okay? Go on vacation, whether you're spending it at home or actually going somewhere. You should be able to do that. Life is not about work, eat, sleep, repeat. What is life then if that is the way that someone chooses to live it? And it's very easy to fall into that cycle because we live in a society that has been set up to kind of keep you in that cycle because you need to pay the rent, mortgage, bills, debts, pay off the car, pay for public transportation, pay for water, pay for light, pay for clean air if you're getting an air purifier, clean water if you're buying bottles of water or water filter, right? We've been set up to use this currency of money for everything. And so now it's like we use the currency, we use our life as currency to now get this money so that we can use it as currency for everything else. What's the point of life if you're just stuck in that pattern, stuck in that cycle? Some people may consider this an idealistic way of viewing things, or maybe an oversimplified way of viewing things, or like I mentioned before, a privileged way of viewing things. And if you're someone that feels that way, then you can leave the message, not take it in. But if something has been sparked in you, or something felt slightly like it resonated with you while you were listening to any of this, then maybe it's something to consider, you know? What do I live for? What is my life? Am I living to live, to experience, to enjoy? Am I living to pay for things? Yeah. Is your life just so that you can pay for things? It's a little, well, everyone, to each their own, you know, but I personally want to enjoy my life. And I would love to see more people wanting that for themselves too. Not thinking with the limiting belief that, well, that's not realistic, right? Or you have to make some sacrifices in life. But don't think about the logical aspect of it. Think about what you want. Is this what you want? Or is this just what you feel you have to do because you have to compromise somewhere? Yeah. I feel like that was another branch, but yeah, that's another realization I think for me was I also wanted to post more videos like what I'm doing right now, but the thing that was holding me back was, again, pressure, but also self-censorship, which I guess falls into this pressure, right? It's like I have to produce a certain kind of content and I want to make sure that everyone feels safe or okay with hearing it, but you're never going to be able to satisfy everyone. And I knew that, but I still was like, well, it's like I still censored. And I did that since I was young. I would even censor my thoughts. Now imagine how burdensome it feels to have to censor your thoughts, not even being like, even your mind is not a safe place for you to fully express yourself. I've worked through that a lot, like a lot. This was many, many years ago in my childhood where I would censor my thoughts. You know, I wouldn't allow myself to think certain things. I would correct myself instantly. It's like I had this strict critic, this voice in my head saying, Milka, you're not allowed to think that way. That's a lot of self-inflicted pressure. You know what I mean? Even your mind is not a safe space for you. So I journal now. That's one of the reasons why I enjoy journaling. When I first started journaling, I told myself, this is a space where I'm not protecting any feelings, where I'm not, because that's another thing. Even when I was younger, I would censor how I would speak with people as well. So I applied this censorship to my mind and how I communicated, because I wanted to make sure that the way I communicated was what I thought was best for the person that I'm speaking with. That's not really fair to me though, is it? Because it's like everything else is more important than me, my feelings, my expression, my pure joy and creativity. Same thing with the YouTube stuff. It's like I made everything else more important than the joy of creating, which is why I started the channel. So it's the same thing with this. Like the theory, the idea was to just be able to express myself on this platform. And then I censored myself a little bit. Even with the fountain pen stuff, with the stationery stuff, I started making those videos, and that's what got me a few subscribers. And I was like, you know, now I kind of feel like I need to keep making stationery content, because these, you know, the stationery people may not want to see the vlogs and stuff like that. And then I was like, well, you know what? Then they don't have to watch the vlogs. Why am I maneuvering myself to accommodate everyone else? That's where the boundaries come in again, right? It's like, that's what I was doing. I was trying to accommodate everyone but myself. That's the reason why I'm making this video, is because this is the kind of stuff I wanted to talk about on this channel as well. And I used to also put this self-judgment, like when I start talking, I talk for a long time because I branch off. It's going to be a lot of editing, you know, people are going to get bored listening to this or whatever. But I'm not going to edit this video. I'm going to leave it exactly as is, because whoever is meant to listen to it is going to listen to it. Why should I filter my thoughts if the whole goal was to express myself? You know what I mean? And again, I'm sharing my journey, but I'm sharing it, one, because I want to share, and two, I'm hoping that maybe at least one or two of you who come across this video and watch it in full will feel like this connects or clicks for you in some way and how it applies in your life. You know, maybe it can be something that you are yourself aware of, but like I said, it's very easy to kind of become stuck, or not stuck, to fall into a cycle of the whole work, eat, sleep thing, right? To wake up, go to work, come back home, and repeat. It's very easy to be, what is a cog in the system? Is that the is that the right term? I'm not sure. Like clockwork. It's very easy. Humans, I feel like, very easily can fall into cycles and patterns, and on some level it's great for survival and it can be beneficial for certain things, and then in some ways it can also become a restriction for us, right? Because it keeps us stuck in our ways until we actively think, oh, I've just been going in a circle, time to change it up. So yeah, that's kind of it. That's what I wanted to talk about today in this long format video. But yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think about it, for those of you who have stuck around. Did any of you find this, you know, insightful for your personal self? In addition for me expressing myself, I was hoping that there could be at least, maybe if you were one of the few people who this was meant to touch, to kind of be like, oh, you know what? Like sometimes you need to hear something, like, you know, something, but sometimes you need to hear it from someone else for it to just kind of shift a little and fall fully into place. And you're like, ah, yes, now I can readjust. So maybe that's what this was for someone. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sticking around for the duration of the video. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And I guess this kind of feels like similar to the stuff that I would post on my tarot channel. So I feel called to do the same kind of outro. So I will. I'm wishing you guys so much love, so much light, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye. See you in the next video.